Hi everybody, welcome to my latest YouTube vertical live, which is part of my ongoing series All Things Gaming. Thank you so much for being here in the coming minutes, and thank you so much for being here later on when you're going to watch this, if you're going to watch this as a YouTube video. This time around I want to talk to you about a simple fact that I believe that people want to play, among other things, simple games, as well as complex or massive or encompassive games that are also popular. They also crave, want, and desire to play games, video games that are very simple. I started thinking about this due to the fact that recently there was a small debate starting up related to the game Cloverpit. And Cloverpit is basically a new title that is a slot game, a roguelite slot machine game set in what the developers are describing a nightmare. In this nightmare, people enter and play in what, again, the developers are calling a never-ending death simulator. Hey Danilo, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to this broadcast. Now, Cloverpit is available on Steam. It's being sold for about $10 and it managed to sell over 300,000 copies in a matter of several weeks. It's also concurrently played at around 25,000 players, which is a huge number for basically an indie game that is neither a multiplayer nor has any multiplayer capabilities. As far as I know, it's a single player roguelike game that's riffing on slot machines and slot machine like mechanics. However, this game, along with other games like Balatro and similar titles, has people saying that this is basically a gambling game, a gambling title that is pushing all of the buttons that gambling games are pushing, and that it's trying to kind of use the same gameplay mechanics and the same impulses as gambling and casino games. Now, I have a big issue with that because even though it might be true in the sense that there are some overlapping points between, let's say, Balatro and people who like to play games that are basically poker games, the difference is that this, in my view, is not based on that gambling impulse. It is based on a regular gaming impulse where you simply want to enjoy games, you want to play games, and you want to find games fun and interesting. Hey everyone, thanks for joining in to this broadcast. I'm talking about the fact that I believe that people want to play, among other things, simple games as well. So we have Balatro, we have the new Cloverpit, we have many games on a similar kind of setup that are basically using a very simple gameplay mechanic. It can be slot poker or it can be a regular slot games. And they're embedding it into a more complex system. Now, of course, in the Balatro case, that is not narratively based, but Cloverpit does uses this idea of kind of our modern society where we jump into debt and the debt is keeping on, it's piling up, and things are getting more and more complicated and worse for us. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I see that the current number of viewers jumped. Awesome to see you here, awesome that you are here. Please, if you're a first time viewer, check out the rest of my channel. I talk and create videos related to gaming, UGC, and many other gaming elements. So give this a look and let me know if you like them. Please consider subscribing. Instead of having this appeal that is basically a gambling game, I believe that people are basically attracted to the fact that all of these casino games are simple, exceedingly simple to play, exceedingly simple to understand, and exceedingly simple to enjoy, even when you're not gambling your real world money. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. The concurrent number of viewers just jumped. That's awesome to see. Thanks for being here. We're presently at 12 concurrent viewers, and that's my previous record. If we go above that to 13 or 14, I'm going to officially break the same record. So awesome for you to be here. If you're enjoying this, please leave a like, please leave reactions, because I believe it helps the algorithm spread the word. Danilo says simple games like Flappy Bird don't last long as games because such games are made to be played on a bus during some break during work. Yes, to a point. We have hyper casual games that are simple, that are designed to be played on the go, basically, as something that we play and forget and enjoy in short bursts of time. But Balatro is not that. And I think that Cloverpit, even though I never played it, is even less so a casual game or a hyper casual game. Instead, it uses a simple mechanic. Poker, in general, is a simple concept, especially slot poker, which is even simpler than, let's say, Texas Hold'em. On the other hand, slot games are even simpler. You're just hitting the button and looking to get some combo. But in that process, if you take that very simple baseline mechanic and go and connect it to something else that has more appeal, a deeper kind of appeal, you can get very successful games. And that's the point here. We're not attracted to gaming in general so that we get a certain level of complexity. We like all stuff, all of the time. We like super complex games, we like simple games. We like games that include some kind of a gambling mechanic, even when it's not our money, but let's say our gear or our in game currency or whatever it might be. But we also enjoy games that have nothing to do with it, that work on a completely different basis. But the simplicity itself is not inherently bad. Quite the opposite, it's good. Casino games were gambling games or games of fun long before there were casinos. We invented dice, we invented playing cards thousands of years ago because they had this embedded appeal. It's super easy to understand, it's super easy to get involved with it. Everyone can roll a dice, everyone can use a card or create a selection of cards to use it against their opponent. Hey everyone, thanks for being here. I'm talking about the fact that I believe that people want to play, among other things, simple games, and the reason for that desire is the inherent reason why games like Balatro or recent Cloverpit are being so successful on Steam. Gambling is a hard thing to avoid if you're creating simple games and you're using the mechanics of casino games. For example, like Cloverpit does, it uses the almost exactly the same mechanic as a standard slot game, where you have several rows, several columns, and you're spinning the wheel until you get some kind of a combo. But there is literally nothing to be gained from playing Cloverpit. It's a single player game that you buy and you don't gamble with anything. But in this game world, you want to achieve your goals. You want to accumulate stuff that helps you achieve those goals. That is not a gambling instinct, that's a hoarding instinct, which is also very much human, but works on a different level. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I see that the concurrent number of viewers just dropped up substantially, and that's awesome to see. Thanks for being here. My name is Ivica. I'm talking about the fact that people, in my view, want and like playing simple games, among other things, and more complex games. And we just jumped even further. I'm really close now to taking over my previous concurrent record. It is just tied at 12 concurrent viewers. So if we go above that, we're going to see the same record broken. So leave a like or leave any kind of reaction or comment if you kind of want to join into the discussion. The gambling does not take front and first central seat in the case of Cloverpit. It doesn't take the front seat in case of Balatro. It's something that is based on those mechanics in terms of people recognizing it and in terms of people kind of being able to get into it, but it's not something that is having you wager anything of value, of real world value. Quite the opposite. Both of these games are premium games that are not even free to play games. They're not social casinos or anything like that. They are premium games based not on a casino concept, but a simple, easy to understand, easy to recognize concept. Danilo says, yes, true, simplicity is something people always need. Angry Birds is a very good example of a simple game. Yes, there are many, many different forms of simple games, and it's not that if you create a simple game, it has to be successful. It will be successful no matter what. But using simplicity as a starting point is always a good thing in game design. Soldier Boy says, how simple are we talking, like mobile shop games or small indie-like games with flat texture styles? The visuals, thanks for joining and thanks for the comment. That's a really good question. The visuals and the production size is not of an issue. These games that I'm constantly kind of mentioning here, Balatro and Cloverpit, are all made by small teams, but they don't have to be small in terms of the content they provide. Balatro in particular is played by people for thousands of hours, literally. And Cloverpit, as it stands right now, is something that is also very promising for its developers. So to go back to your question, Soldier Boy, the issue is not the size of the production and the cost of the production. Cloverpit looks like something that was made in 2001. It's retro visuals, it's like PlayStation 2, even PlayStation 1 kind of sensibility, but the amount of content, the amount of fun that people can get out of it is clearly huge. So we're not talking only about small indie games that you play for half an hour. We're talking about systems that are simple on the surface, but which can provide you with hours and hours and hours of fun and engagement. Hopefully I answered your question, Soldier Boy, and thanks a lot for asking it. Danilo says, betting is luck, and luck is what drives the player to play and bet. There is the sense of luck involved, but there is luck in everything. All of the games, all the time involve luck. If you play a first-person shooter, sometimes it's good to be lucky, where you kind of think you're missing, but the player on the other side basically runs into your bullets. On the other hand, there are random number generator elements in almost all games, all of the time. How much damage will you deal? How much damage will you get? What's going to be your loot box? What's going to be in your loot drop? It doesn't need to be a free-to-play game or anything like that. Even regular games have that sense of chance. And chance is always there. It's always in our everyday life. But with these, again, these simple games that associate us not with betting, gambling, getting money, losing money in casinos, but with this idea of a simplistic gameplay system, we are able to get players immediately and then build upon that gradually, which is what Balatro does, which is what Cloverpit does, and that goes well beyond that need and desire and impulse to gamble, and is based on the idea that we find these processes, these small games, fun. And the reason why Balatro is successful, why Cloverpit seems to be and will be incredibly successful, is that they provide a lot of fun in their own environment. So let people play simple games, create simple games, build upon those simple games, because clearly we want and need them. Not just gambling games, it goes above and beyond gambling games. And I think that's a very important point that many developers are presently missing, as many of them trying to make as complex system as they can, even though they're creating small games, medium games, or large games. Danilo says, first Doom are actually simple game, just shoot everything that moves. Yes, anything you see, shoot it. Soldier Boy says, sorry, I meant something more like comparing Block Blast, where main focus is making the dev money, to something like Balatro, where it's full passion project placed in the market. Of course, yeah, there are many developers, especially free-to-play games, that are trying to get onto that idea of making people gamble. And some are even facing difficulties from legislative points of view, where countries are trying to stem on that. They're forbidding or blocking loot boxes, for example, and stuff like that. But you understand, like you said, Balatro is simply a game a person created to be fun. It's paid. You just buy it, get it, play it. There's no money involved, but still people are associated with that issue of kind of it being based on poker. It has to be something that's related to gambling. It is not. It's related to fun and simple games, and it builds up upon that very quickly. That's basically my idea for this broadcast. Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks Danilo, thanks Soldier Boy. It was awesome talking to you. We didn't break the concurrent record, but we were close. So hopefully on the next broadcast it's going to happen. I'm going to go above 13 or 14 concurrent viewers. Until then, please check out my channel. Please check out my other videos. Leave a like, leave a comment on stuff you like or enjoy. If you have questions on that, please do so as well. And Thanks for being here once again. Have a great day. Enjoy your simple and easy to play games. Create simple, easy to play, and easy to get into games. And I'll see you on my next broadcast. See you too, Danilo, next time live. Have fun and have a great time. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye.